No matter who you are or how well you cook, you probably dread weeknight dinners. Weeknight meals can be super stressful, especially if you need to prep, plan, and cook all after a long day of work. To help mitigate the stress, I'm going to show you my 3 go-to recipes that are tasty and quick. Each of these recipes can be made and served within 30 minutes, and I'll show you the technique you need to master to save the most time in the kitchen. Let's make it.
Our first recipe is a saucy, healthy, and satisfying turkey rice bowl. Time is going to be the enemy in all of these recipes, so spending a few minutes to organize how you're going to tackle the prep is going to save you so much time. We need to think through which ingredients need the longest time to cook and which ones can be prepped while other things are cooking. It sounds simple and obvious, but getting this right makes a huge difference in cook time. Let's take a quick look at the ingredients needed and organize them by prep here. Rice needs to go in first because this needs the most time and it involves upfront work. You can usually allot 20 to 25 minutes for rice. We can brown the turkey while we cut the veggies. Once the veggies are chopped, they can go in the pot with the turkey and we can make the sauce. The sauce is going to reduce with the veggies and we can taste for seasoning while the rice finishes. Measure 1 cup of rice and wash it until it's completely clean, usually 3 to 5 washes. The ratio I go for is 2 to 1 water to rice, so you need roughly 2 cups of water in total. Place this in a rice cooker or bring it up to a simmer on the stove, cover it and let it cook on low for 20 minutes. These 20 minutes are the window we need for everything else. Heat a Dutch oven or a large pan over medium heat until it's real hot. Add a few tablespoons of oil and put in 1 pound of ground turkey. Turkey has a ton of water and very little fat, so you may need to add a little more cooking oil as you go. Add a few cracks of black pepper and let this brown while we turn our attention to chopping some veg. I think of this dish as almost a bolognese type consistency, so I want it to be thick and the veggies to be bite-sized. To achieve this, I like to cut my broccoli starting at the top to the florets, moving downwards towards the stalk. I'll run my knife through the stalk and any large pieces to make sure there aren't any large chunks. Peel your carrots and run them through the large holes of a box grater. To make them a little smaller, run your knife through the pile. While doing this prep, check on your turkey every now and then and make sure you're getting brownage on all sides. Add your carrots and broccoli to the brown turkey along with a splash of water. This will pull up any brown bits from the bottom and allow the veggies to cook fully. Let that cook over medium heat until the veggies have been softened. In the meantime, let's make the sauce mixture that's going to transform this into something beautiful. Into a container, measure 2 tablespoons of light soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of mirin, 3 tablespoons of dark soy sauce, a half tablespoon of oyster sauce, 2 tablespoons of something spicy, think chili garlic paste or gochujang. Add a sprinkle of dried ginger and enough water to get this up to a cup of liquid. Once your veggies are cooked, add all your sauce mixture and stir. Bring this up to a simmer and add a slurry of 1 tablespoon of cornstarch to 2 tablespoons of water. Mix that in and let the mixture thicken. This is where I may need to add some water depending on the amount of liquid left. We like this to be saucy enough to cook the rice. This was honestly a little thicker than we usually make it. Add a small splash of sesame oil, mix that in, taste for final seasoning, and your rice should be ready to go right around this time. For serving, I like a bowl so I can mix the rice completely with the sauce. The dish is warm, comforting, slightly spicy, and really well seasoned from the soy and sesame oil. Top this with chili oil and get ready for some saucy goodness. Fajitas are a classic for a good reason, and they can easily be made within the 30 minutes to feed a bunch of people. The bonus with these is you can use any manner of store-bought or homemade ingredients you'd like. I'll show you how to make rice and beans to go along with it, but feel free to make any or none of the sides. Same with the first recipe, we'll need to get the rice going first, but because we're making red rice, we need some veggies cut first. The beans can simmer for a while without needing attention, so we'll get those going early as well. Next, we'll prep the peppers, onions, and other vegetables so we don't have to worry about cleaning the cutting board between the chicken and veggies. We'll butterfly the chicken to save some time while cooking, and we can cook the chicken and heat the tortillas in the oven at the same time. This one's a little back and forth between prep and stove, so I wanted to show you how I manage both at the same time. At the stove, I have a cast iron pan for our beans and a pot for the red rice. The beans are going to be simmered with bacon and jalapeno, so we can throw 2 strips of bacon into the cast iron while it's preheating. We need 1/4 of a diced onion for the beans and 1/4 of a diced onion for the rice, so dice half a white onion and add half of that to the rice pot with some oil. Cook it over medium-low for a few minutes until the onions are translucent. At this time, we can dice 1 seeded jalapeno for the beans. Drain your beans and remove the bacon from the pan once it's crispy. Add the chopped onion and jalapeno to the bacon fat and chop the bacon into bite-sized pieces. At the stove, our onions are translucent so we can add spices to the oil. Add chili powder, garlic powder, smoked paprika, cumin, salt, and pepper. Let these fry over medium heat for around a minute and then add 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. Let that cook for another minute and then add 1 cup of white rice. There's no need to rinse this, we're going to toast this and that's going to keep the rice from being gummy in the end. Add 2 cups of water, bring this up to a simmer, and let it cook over low for 20 minutes. For the beans, add your 2 cans of drained pinto beans to the bacon fat veggies. Season this with salt, cumin, garlic powder, chili powder, smoked paprika, onion powder, and pepper. Add the bacon along with 2/3 of a cup of water. Let this ride on medium-low while we get back to prepping our fajita veg. For the classic fajita mix, we need 2 bell peppers and half a white onion cut into strips. You often see this with yellow onion, but I think cooked white onion tastes better. In this case, they're much less sweet. The last prep before the chicken is cutting a lime and slicing an avocado. We'll use the lime juice in the fajita mix, and avocado is totally optional, but Megan K loves it. Get a large pan preheating over medium heat, and we can start butterflying our chicken. Butterflying helps the chicken cook more evenly and quickly. Simply lay your hand on the top of the chicken and push your knife into the middle of a side. Make shallow cuts and slowly open your chicken like a book. Continue making even cuts until you have one large piece. Cut this in half to get 2 equal pieces. Season them with garlic powder, smoked paprika, cumin, salt, and pepper. Add a touch of oil to both sides, and we're good to create the fajita mix. Add enough oil to coat the bottom of a pan and place your chicken in. We want the pan pretty hot because the quicker we cook the chicken, the juicier it's going to be, especially with chicken breast. These pieces need about 8 minutes in total, but a good way to tell if your chicken is cooked is by feel. If you poke it and it's really squishy, it may not be ready. When it's cooked, you can feel there's much less give. Remove the chicken from the pan and add your sliced peppers and onions. Season this generously with salt and pepper. I like these to be slightly softened, but not at all mushy. We want some crunch to these. Leave them in the pan over low heat while we finish everything else up. To save time on warming tortillas, I've started just placing them on a sheet tray under the broiler until they're warm. I know it's not perfect, but it's better than having to heat 6 tortillas on the stove. After the 20 minutes of cooking, the rice should be done and ready for fluffing. Give the beans a taste and check for seasoning. They should be nice and well seasoned, but some cans have more salt than others, so just be sure to check. Slice your chicken and add that to the pan with the onions and peppers. Pour over the resting juices and squeeze half a lime. This is how we achieve the sizzling fajita vibe from your favorite local Chili's. You've probably built fajitas before, so I won't tell you how to do it. I'm not a fan of rice and fajitas, so I just go with fajita mix, beans, avocado, and salsa. These are satisfying, delicious, and can be customized as you like. If you're picking between making rice or beans, may I interest you in joining the Bean Boy Club? While filming this, I learned that Megan K feels very strongly that fajitas are the exact same as tacos, that there's really no difference. I can't really dispute this, but sound off in the comments below if you feel differently. Pan-seared salmon over the top of rice or salad with some chili oil is a weekly occurrence in our house. It's easy, delicious, and as simple as can be. For the organization on this one, it's really straightforward. The only thing that has a clock is the roasted sweet potato. Everything else is really quick. I'll use the ease of this recipe to show you how to debone a salmon. Start by preheating your oven to 425 Fahrenheit. Peel your sweet potato and cut it into a medium dice. This could be any roasted veggie. Honestly, Megan K prefers broccoli, but I was a little broccolied out after making so many broccoli dishes the other day. Season those with salt and olive oil, and they can go in the oven while it's preheating. These need enough time to get browned and cooked all the way through. I've really been feeling this kale salad recently that a friend showed us. Usually kale is way too intense for me to enjoy raw, but we'll salt it and squeeze the leaves, and that makes it much easier to eat. Chop the kale pretty fine, wash it, and dry it so it's ready for use later. For the salad, we also need a quarter of a red onion sliced and an avocado chopped. I've got one large piece of salmon that has yet to be deboned, so I'll show you how to do that before cooking it. I have a pair of tiny metal tongs that work really well for this, but you can use your fingers with a paper towel for some grip. It's pretty easy to locate the bones by running your finger along the thickest part of the fillet. They're all in a line, so once you've found one, just work your way to the next. Grip the bone and use your hand to apply pressure to the flesh. I would describe it as a tug rather than a pull. The gentler you are, the less meat you'll damage. Season the flesh with something simple like lemon pepper or garlic, and place a pan over medium-low heat. While the pan preheats, we can wilt the kale by adding a pinch of salt and squeezing it with your hands. Break apart any large pieces and really get in there. Add a splash of rice wine vinegar for some acid, and that can be set aside while we cook the salmon. At the stove, we can add enough olive oil to coat the pan. Add your salmon skin side down, and we'll let this cook on the skin side for about 60% of the way. Use the changing color of the side of the salmon to judge it. You'll see it turn a light pink. Flip the salmon and cook briefly until the pieces are almost completely cooked. If your pieces are uneven like mine are, you can flip back to the skin side and tilt the pan so the thicker sections are getting more heat. Remove the salmon from the heat and take the sweet potatoes out of the oven once they're fully cooked. Not pictured here is me removing the salmon skin after it's cooled slightly. It's really easy to do with your hands though. To finish the salad, add a splash of soy sauce or liquid aminos, along with a little bit of sesame oil. This dressing is super simple, but taste the kale to make sure it's seasoned and balanced. If it needs a little more vinegar, don't be shy. Add your onions and avocado and we're ready to plate. Lay down a bed of the salad, top with your roasted veg of your choosing, and place the salmon on top. Chili oil is required for this in our house, and the salad could easily be replaced with white rice. This dish may be the most simple one on here, but I think that's the beauty of it. Cooking can be as easy or intense as you want it to be, but sometimes you just need something simple and lovingly prepared after a long day of work. Let me know in the comments down below what your favorite weeknight meals are. Thank you so much for watching. Check me out on Patreon like these amazing people do, and check out last week's video on my current obsession, shrimp and grits.
Like, like, and subscribe.
Hey, you heard the lady. Cheers.